We are now adults. We need to know what is important.
So the other day, my husband and I were talking about ways on how we could save up money while we were in quarantine. So I was like, this is actually a great conversation. This is the kind of thing that we have to start thinking about. So I asked our group in Shot of Sanity, SOS podcast group on Facebook, like, what are the smart ways that they're trying to handle money and spend money and save money these days?
Let's start out with Patricia. Patricia says, consider the important and urgent need. Pag important but not urgent, hold na lang muna. Mas lalo ng hold na lang muna pag not important and not urgent. So yeah, you need to know, is it functional? Is it something that can make my life easier? And something that it's something that I need to have at this point. Coming from Ian, he goes, set and stick with your priorities and the rest will follow. Also, I learned from my parents na don't use money from direct income para sa mga luho sa buhay. Find some side hustles para hindi affected yung priorities mo. If your income is going down, try and bring down your expected expense. And if you go under that, that is where you realize, okay, I can spend a little bit more. I can maybe get another subscription for like another show or something like that, and you can feel like you're treating yourself despite the situation.
Yeah, that makes sense. One of the things that I've been practicing ever since I started earning money is to pay myself first.
Yes.
It's something that I read from a book called Automatic Millionaire, and what he does is kind of like the different side naman of your saving up money. So in Automatic Millionaire, it says that to pay yourself first, 15% of whatever you earn goes straight to your savings account. And then eventually you'll start budgeting. Because he's saying that if you leave the savings at the end of your finances, it might be harder for a lot of people. Like for you parts, it might be easy because you're disciplined with your finances. Yeah. But for some people, it's actually very hard. And now that we're going through this pandemic, you have to be smarter and kind of adjust to the natural setting of your character. I love also that some people here are kind of saying the same things that we're saying parts. Like Jella says, number one is delayed gratification. If you don't need it, you don't have to get it in an instant. Learn how to manage the urge of impulsive buying. Basically, discipline yourself. Number two, she says, save, save, and save. My dad always told me to save. Saving in the long run will be your best decision ever. Right now, our savings has helped us big time to pay for the bills and other necessary expenses because of the pandemic. So it's really good. It's a really good idea to start saving even during the pandemic. Mott's actually put in a really good suggestion also, which is he says, I think it's important to have bank accounts with intended purposes.
Yes.
Which is what we also do.
Yes.
One of the things that I read before is don't put all your eggs in one basket. That also applies to your talents, your time, and of course, your money. You have to have a bank where you only deposit money for your savings. You shall not withdraw money from there. The second one is a payroll account where part of your disposable income is. It's an amount of money available to be spent on your needs. And the third is it also helps to open an account for your dream. It helps you track how much you're saving up solely for that dream vis-a-vis mixing it with your savings account. Ganda!
I
like
completely agree with everyone's input. What advice would you give somebody that is already running out of savings because of how long that this is going on?
Okay, so I'd say for some people who still have a bit of money saved up and they have a skill set that they know they could eventually expand and earn money from, I say invest in things that you know could help you build a small business or a side hustle that will help you earn money. Second one is look at your skill set. Just really look at your skill set and see what are the needs right now of the market that I could actually cater to. My advice would always be to be as frugal as possible and save as much as you can. Try to get rid and forego of things that you no longer need and are not necessary in your life anymore. That's one. Second, look around your house. What are the things that you could actually sell? And one other thing is what a lot of people on this thread are saying. They said, like Darlene, she says, adapt the minimalistic approach.
Yes, I
So
agree.
be minimalist about your life. If you don't need it, if it's not a necessity, if it's not a priority, if you can survive without it, don't get it.
The one thing that I think I learned about this whole quarantine, it really showed me that, I mean, it's always good to have, I mean, to always dream of making like a boatload of money and have that kind of security and all that. But what it really showed me now is, if I just want to live and I want to live to be able to be comfortable until tomorrow, it's not as expensive as I honestly thought it was. The father of innovation is necessity. So if you are coming towards your end and you need to make ends meet, I honestly believe that is a time that you will be hit with this great idea that you're going to be able to be okay. I know sometimes it might feel like it's a little too much, but when your back's against the wall, that's when you perform the best sometimes.
That's right. I love also some of the suggestions of our listeners here, like Catherine Bartz. She says, use what you currently have first. I-check muna ang ref. Baka may mga natabunan pa na nasa pinakalikuran ng freezer, same sa pantry shelves. What you can do is ilabas lahat, then create a meal plan na magagamit ang mga nahalungkat instead of thinking and buying what you thought you need hanggang ma-expire na lang yung mga hindi madalas makita. Be realistic sa pag-add to cart. Delay online purchases of items you won't use until quarantine is lifted. Live within your means and live within the urgent priorities of your life right now. And another thing, don't be complacent. Just because you still have money and
Yes.
savings right now,
Yes.
that doesn't mean you will always have money and savings for the next few months and the next few years. So you always have to be vigilant and smart in the way that you handle your finances, pandemic or not.
An interesting thing here just crossed my mind. There's a lot of people that might be listening to this and they live with their parents.
Yeah.
So,
Wala, pag-gastos mo lahat sa parents mo.
oh, yun, okay na yan, okay. Do you think that in
We're
this
kidding.
time they should, use their savings to help out their parents, or should they keep their savings because their parents are saying, make sure you have that for a rainy day? What do
They
you
should
think
at least
they should
offer.
do? Okay. Pareho tayo. Okay. I like that.
Diba? Just at least offer. I feel like we're very lucky, we're very blessed. A lot of our parents, especially Filipino parents, are generous parents, but always try to offer up help. I think that's always like the common courtesy that we should try and do.
Try
Yeah.
and find ways, if your parents are being so gracious enough to be able to, support you and put a roof over your head and food on the table. If they don't want any financial support, try and find other ways to make sure that you're kind of doing your part at home.
Hannah, who says, I think the best way is to live in simplicity, live within your means, and acknowledge your needs from your wants, which is one of the best advices that I've been living off of since I started my 20s. But to kind of encapsulate everything, parts. For me personally, the smartest way that you could go about your finances, especially with this pandemic, is to look at it not just as a physical problem, but also an emotional and psychological issue. Sometimes you have to acknowledge that the reason why we keep buying things is because we want to be in control of some area of our life because it feels like every other area is out of our control. And sometimes you have to acknowledge that it's okay that things feel as if they're out of control and that you don't have to regain that control or that power by buying things and trying to fill this hole or this gap in your heart or in your soul with material things. That will never give you contentment. These things, good as they may be, can never give you contentment and can never give you happiness. That's something that you have to decide within yourself.
This is about being an adult. When you're a kid, that's when you say, I want this and I want that and I want this. And despite whatever the situation is, if you wanted a toy, you would have done everything to, throwing a store upside down, throwing a fit and all that until you got it. We are now adults. We need to know what is important. What we need to do, especially in this time of age, is to internalize. If you can make yourself happy and content with what you have in your heart and in your mind, then everything else on top is gravy.
That's right. So I think that pretty much encapsulates our topic for today, Parts. Live within your means, save as much as you can, and more than anything, we'd love to encourage you guys to help out and share what you have with people who are in need. If you have the means to, if you have the capability to, just give and share with people who actually need more. And go to www.worldvision.org.ph and sponsor a child now.
Or I don't have anything to plug, so there's nothing. I got nothing.
Or support us through Anchor.fm. Yeah, you can do that too. We need the money too, by the way. Freelancers din po kami. But thank you once again to everyone who took part in our discussion in the SOS group.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for listening to this episode of the podcast.
Until next time, she's Joyce Pring. I'm AMIRITE. We out. Peace.
Paalam.